right, so everybody, JayC here, and I apologize for the delay. We've had technical difficulties tonight, so it happens, I guess, as I'm continuing to experiment with the OBS and live streaming here. It was bound to happen, but for whatever reason, my second camera quit working, so the review studio camera is on the blink. So I originally had planned to show you some stuff, but unfortunately it's not looking good as though I'm going to be able to do that, because for whatever reason the it's just not connecting tonight. So that's how it goes, but I still got some news for you guys, some interesting news, and we'll take some questions. And as far as the review went tonight, really what I was going to focus on was 3 3/4 inch Marvel figures. And so we'll get into a little bit more of that. So it won't be quite the same thing because I don't have the review station camera working, but we'll take a look at some stuff and talk about like the Marvel Legend Retro line and a few other things. So but let us get into the news. And sorry, I'm a little discombobulated because technical difficulties threw me off my game. But we're going to start off with some news here. So if you haven't been to the channel recently, or in the past week, I've been continuing to experiment with the live streams, and really am looking to do more news and reviews and things all like live, so I can interact better with you guys, and you guys can ask questions as we go along, things like that. So that's really kind of where I'm kind of trying to take the channel. So, but I'm new to the live stream thing. I'm new to the software, and there are a lot of moving pieces, and it's just me, one-man operation. So like I said, there's going to be occasionally some technical difficulties like we've experienced tonight, but that's basically what's going on. So you guys and the super chat features engaged. We'll take questions as we go along. Today wasn't super exciting. It wasn't a lot of news today, to be honest. Yesterday, it seemed like we got tons and tons of news, and then today was pretty quiet. But there was a few things I wanted to go over. So McFarlane had a little bit of more news today. Nothing with DC, but they today's focus from McFarlane seemed to be My Hero Academia. So they debuted some new 7-inch figures for that line, and I'm going to go over these real quick. So we'll pop over and we'll take a look at the new images that were released today. So as I always say with this line, this is not a line that I personally follow. These are characters I'm not super familiar with. So if I butcher the names, I do apologize. But we'll start off. So I think I've kind of lost track of which characters they've already done, but I think 2 of these might be ones, or at least one might be ones that they've done before. So we've got the Kirishima, I think is how you pronounce it. And again, if I did mispronounce it, I do apologize. And that one is featuring the Season 3 hero costume. And then this one's probably the coolest one, and this one I think is completely new, and that's the All for One character with that big mutated arm. So definitely I think this is a cool one. This one's right up Todd's alley with the mutated arm and everything. We've only got these initial images, so I don't know if there's going to be an alternate arm that you can switch out with this figure, or if this is it. But it doesn't look like there's really any articulation on the arm, but definitely it looks like it's a pretty cool, nicely sculpted, detailed arm there. And then the third figure they showed was the Azuku, I think that's how you say it, probably butchered that. But this one I remember seeing before. So this one is not really new, but this one is featuring the character in his Season 2 hero outfit. So, I guess they change clothes every semester or something. So that's it for the 7-inch My Hero Academia. No, these are going to be out later this year, but I don't think they gave a specific actually, I know they didn't give a specific release date. They just said pre-orders would be going up soon. But besides the 7-inch figure, Todd also announced 5-inch figures for My Hero Academia. So these are limited articulation. These are essentially 5 points of articulated figure. I'm kind of guessing on the articulation just based, he did a video and he kind of showed it. So it looked like these had around 5 points of articulation. They're going to cost under $10 each. So, same characters they've done in the 7-inch line, but they've shrunk them down to 5-inch with less articulation, cheaper price. And I think the idea here is these are more for the kids. And it looks like they're really kind of going all gung-ho with kids, trying to aim this line towards the kids. So besides the 5-inch figures here, they also announced they're going to be doing 12-inch figures that are going to have lights and sounds. So this is definitely, one that's more of a kid line. And then they also are going to be doing role play. So it's kind of funny to see, a collector company like McFarlane do stuff for kids, but I know this is what, the Targets and the Walmarts like to see, so I'm sure that is as Todd continues to try and get in good with the big box retailers, I'm sure that's kind of the thought behind going this route with these figures. Mr. Anonymous says a rumor is an old Toys R Us employee is going to attempt to resurrect the spirit of Toys R Us on Halloween night. It's going to be live streamed. Good luck with that. I think that's a dead corpse. Though, I guess I assume those two stores, they opened up those two Toys R Us stores in those malls a year or so ago. I assume those are still open, but I have no idea, especially with COVID and everything, how good those are or how well they've been doing. I suspect they probably haven't been doing that much. I laugh at the website because the website takes you to Target. Like you click on it, everything just links straight to Target, or at least last time I checked the Toys R Us website. And I'm talking about here in the United States now. In Canada, Toys R Us is still going pretty strong, but here in the U.S., I think they're pretty much dead. All right, so that's it for McFarlane today. Like I said, today seemed to be the focus was My Hero Academia, and we got all the DC reveals yesterday. So still seeing a lot of mixed reactions on those. I would have thought people would have liked the Bane figure more than what I'm seeing. I've seen a lot of negative comments. I guess, it's just based on, it's based on the artwork. So, and I think Greg Capullo had his hand in that. So, I don't know. I agree the classic version is the best, but this doesn't really bother me. I think it'll look better. I think the Bane figure, and, we talked about this yesterday, the Build-A-Figure, the coming for based in the wave with the Last Night on Earth wave, and I think that figure will look even better when you've got the Scarecrow on the back. So that's really kind of what I want to see is an image of the Bane with the Scarecrow riding on the back. And then the Gorilla Grodd, that one seems to be everyone seemed to be excited about the Grodd figure from McFarlane that we saw yesterday, based on the Injustice game for the most part. Saw a few complaints, but I think people were pretty happy with that. And obviously a non-Batman character, which is definitely, I think, something a lot of people will be happy about. So, but we talked plenty about McFarlane and DC last night, so let's move on. And next up, we've got some Funko. So I know I don't often talk about Funko, but they revealed some new Masters of the Universe pop figures this morning. So I thought I would share the info with you guys. Now I'm curious. Now I'm sure I don't get a lot of pop, like heavy pop collectors on this channel. It's not something I cover regularly, and not to say that some of you probably don't collect a few here and there, but I'm curious. Like if you're a Masters of the Universe fan, do you end up buying like these types of pop vinyl figures even if you don't normally collect pop vinyl, or is it just it's too off the wall, it's not action figure enough for you or what have you? I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that, whether these actually pull you into something like Funko Pop when they do variations. Again, you would have to be a Masters of the Universe fan for this to interest you, I would assume, but I am curious. So with the regular wave that's coming out, and these are up for pre-order now at places like our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store. We've got Terraclaw Skeletor, we've got Skeletor on the Panther, and then we've got King Randor, we've got She-Ra, Cobra Khan, and Grizzlor. So that rounds out the regular figures in the wave. And then we get a supersized 10-inch He-Man figure along with a few keychains of the figures, so little mini versions. And then we have, these are probably the coolest, so we've got a flocked version of Skeletor, which is, they're listing as a rare figure, so I assume that's like a chase figure. It's not listed as like any kind of store exclusive. Same with the Grizzlor, we're getting a flocked version. And then the two up in the corner there, I am assuming the one looks like Castle Grayskull Man, only it's He-Man, so I guess it's a Grayskull version of He-Man. And then I'm assuming with Skeletor, that's supposed to be the Snake Mountain Skeletor. That's what I'm calling them, Castle Grayskull He-Man and Snake Mountain Skeletor. I'm not entirely sure if that's their official designation or not. But again, those are being released as like limited edition versions. And then finally, we've got at Target the Terraclaw Skeletor, which is going metallic version. And then there's a little keychain version that's also metallic that's going to be Hot Topic exclusive. And then a glow-in-the-dark She-Ra figure, which is a specialty shop item. So I like the She-Ra. The glow-in-the-dark She-Ra I think is kind of cool. So again, I know probably most of you aren't really like super into pop vinyl figures, but I just thought I would share that information in case you're a Masters of the Universe fan. And like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd like to know. I mean, pop vinyl, as much, even though it's not really personally my thing, it's definitely obviously super popular. Every store practically carries them and carries them in fairly large numbers. So obviously, Funko is doing something right with that line. And I'm just curious if how much of a crossover there is from regular action figure collectors to those who collect, Funko Pop and stuff. Let's see. Dylan says, "Hey JayC, there's going to be more NECA horror action figures in 2021." Yeah, I've seen Randy mention that before. Tomorrow we're going to be for NECA. We're going to be getting some new reveals for Back to the Future. I mentioned this yesterday that I think NECA was going to be revealing a brand new item for Back to the Future, and that reveal should be coming tomorrow. And I think also we might be getting a new Predator reveal as well tomorrow. Dylan has Funko Pop figure. It's Chucky from Child's Play 3. Let's see. After Maddie, Master of the Universe Classics. No, says Sabran. When are going to get Dungeons and Dragons 80s cartoons figures? Emmett asks. They debuted that one figure at HasCon for Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't know if they can. Honestly, I don't even know if they can do cartoon figures or not. I don't know if that's a separate thing, or with the licensing rights, which with whatever company has the rights to that cartoon. I don't know. So I don't know if Hasbro, they haven't said they can't, but they haven't said I don't think they've said they can either. So I really don't know. And I don't know how well that one figure that they sold off at, or put up for sale at HasCon, that was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I have no idea. It didn't look like it sold out or anything. At least I haven't checked in a while, but last time I looked, it looked like it was still available. So I really don't know how well that one sold or not. Let's see. What kind of news do you have for the 3 and 7.5 inch Marvel? So we'll get to that. I don't have any breaking news, but I did want to bring the topic up. So that'll be coming towards the end of the stream. But let's jump into our next news story, which is from Super 7. And they have revealed a new Andre the Giant Ultimates figure. So, they've been doing those early appearance Andre figures, technically not part of the WWE, but, when he was over in Japan wrestling and things like that. So we're getting another one. which they just simply classify as the robe figure because he's wearing a robe. So he's got multiple hands, he's got multiple head sculpts, and I don't know. I feel like in that image right there, I think it looks, kind of like a young Andre the Giant. Keep in mind his look changed a little bit as he got older. He was a little bit older when we saw him in the WWE and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, Andre was a great wrestler, no doubt about it. So I can definitely see the fan appeal there. But like this isn't the first Andre they've done. They've done others, and like I think they updated the head sculpts on the first one they did, because originally the head sculpt they showed off on the first one just really wasn't all that great. But I think they ended up updating that. But I don't know. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a big Andre fan, then this one might be one that you want to check out. Now, last time I checked, it is up for pre-order on the Super 7 store. I haven't seen like Big Bad Toy Store pick it up yet, but normally they carry these as well. So probably, if they haven't already, they probably will very soon. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been a slow news day, so I don't have any major breaking news for you today. The biggest news was probably just the new My Hero Academia figures from McFarlane Toys. But I just wanted to share that with you, and kind of bummed that the review station camera is not working. But really, what I wanted to talk to you guys about as far as Marvel and 3.75 inch scale is that. So I noticed this evening, Dan Young, who is on the Hasbro brand team, was asking folks on Twitter what their thoughts about that retro line was, or is what their thoughts on the retro line is. So you may recall, at HasCon, they showed off these new retro figures that, are 3.75 inch scale, but minimal articulation. You get some fancy card art, but these aren't really, they're kind of made to look like something as if like if Kenner had done action figures back in the day, which they didn't because Mattel had the license back then, and they did Secret Wars figures instead, which Hasbro really can't do. So instead they, invented these Kenner figures. So I don't know, what prompted the question, but you can see there was. Well, actually, I didn't post the responses, but the responses seemed to be pretty much that they thought they were nice, but they weren't really for them, which is kind of what I've been saying all along, ever since this line was first announced. And I just, my feeling is that this line, I know some people are like, oh, well, it's retro, man. But it's not really retro because it's not really based on anything. The Star Wars retro figures that Hasbro did, those are based on actual original Kenner figures. Those really existed. The Ghostbuster figures that they did, those were based on the original Kenner figures. So that's something that really existed. These new Hasbro figures, they're not. Again, back in the day, we got Secret Wars figures, which were put out by Mattel. This is the equivalent of what a Star Wars figure was back then. 5 points of articulation. With these, you got the little shields with the holograms in them. Had really nothing to do with Secret Wars, but that was the gimmick. So, and they did quite a few. They did play sets and everything. So this is really, if you were really trying to go back to that time period of the 80s and stuff, this is really what you would have done. But again, there's red tape involved because Mattel did those, and so that's why Hasbro can't do those. Now, why Hasbro didn't take the Toy Biz 5-inch figures and reproduce them, obviously we've been getting the 6-inch figures reproduced on these card backs, but if you really wanted to give collectors to me, this is the line that really got things going for Marvel, not Mattel's Secret Wars line. This is the line that really did it, the Toy Biz 5-inch line. This was the first line. I didn't collect these as a kid. I went back and got some after I started collecting these, but I didn't, this to me is really, this is where it's at when it comes to Marvel. So a little bit, this was more 90s than 80s, but if you were going to do a retro line, I don't know why, especially since obviously they have good relationship with Jesse Falcon and Toy Biz and everything, Marvel, why, you can see this figure's pretty dusty, but why they didn't take these figures and reproduce the actual figures and put them on card backs and re-release those. And the only thing I can think of is that maybe these figures, because they're 5" as opposed to 3 3/4", and they do have a little bit more articulation than just 5 points. Maybe they would be more expensive to reproduce, so maybe it was a cost thing. I don't know. But if they really wanted to do something retro, that's what I think they should have done. Now, with the route that they went, one-time thing, those 3-packs that they or those 2-packs that they did for PulseCon that were sold directly on Hasbro Pulse, if that's all they did as a collector line, I think people would have been interested. But obviously the goal here was that that was supposed to launch a new full-on retail action figure line, and I just don't think that is going to fly. There's just not enough. Since it's not really based on anything real nostalgia-wise, yes, the card art's nice on those. It's a nice throwback look to old comic book art, but it's not based on anything real. So what I was going to do today is I had the review booth set up here, and we were just going to take a look at some of the old Marvel Universe figures. So this is one of the original Toy Biz ones. So I have the unopened one, but this is my open one. And originally I had tried to paint the shield I had made a custom US agent, so that's why you got the black marks on it. The figure, this isn't the figure I tried to turn into US agent, but I don't know where the shield was. So, but you had the little shield launcher and everything with these Toy Biz ones. But again, if Hasbro really wants to do a 3 3/4", go back to 3 3/4", this is what they need to give us, in my opinion. Now, I'm not going to pretend to speak to the entire collectorate, and obviously I'm talking to 3 3/4" collectors, not 6" collectors. I mean, I collect both, but if you only collect 6", I'm not talking to you, because you're not going to buy these no matter what. But I'm talking about you guys who like the 3 3/4". To me, and feel free to chime in. Maybe Hasbro will read your comments or what have you. But if they really want to do 3 3/4" as a collector line for collectors, the kids aren't. I mean, to make this figure today with this kind of articulation and detail and everything, it's going to be too expensive for a kid to buy. It's probably going to cost in the neighborhood of $15 to $17. A lot of the 3 3/4" figures that are up on Kickstarter, those go for hefty prices. So, you would have to be prepared to pay more than what, this figure originally cost. That's just a given. But I think, if you made a collector line for 3 3/4" collectors, and you gave it good quality, and you gave it good articulation, you gave it good accessories, even if it costs more, I think people would buy it. So that's really just my thought. Now, obviously, the Marvel Universe line, it started out really strong under Dave Vonner, but as time went on, the line deteriorated in quality. We started getting less articulation, less accessories. There's no ab crunch here, no wrist articulation with this Falcon. And again, I apologize. I had the review studio set up for this. I know this camera really isn't that great for this type of thing, but since we're on the subject, and I had these out. I love this figure, the Armored Daredevil, but the articulation sucks. You get no ab crunch. This was one of the later figures, and of course, once they started cheapening the figures really badly, and you started getting joints that fall off real easy, and you get gummy joints and things like that, people quit buying this stuff, and they didn't sell, obviously. I feel like at that point Hasbro just was trying to pull the plug on the line, and so they were making as much money. This is a later figure too, but this is actually, I think, is a pretty nice one. One of the few nice ones they did towards the end of the line. I really wish we'd gotten a Hasbro 6" Marvel Legend version of this cap. So But yeah, so that's really, I just love to hear your thoughts. If you're into 3 3/4 inch, again, if you just collect 6 inch, I got you. You're not interested in 3 3/4 inch. You probably don't even want Hasbro to go back to any 3 3/4 inch because you're afraid you'll be afraid that it'll take away from the 6 inch Marvel Legends. That's what happened last time. That's why there was such friction between 3 3/4 inch collectors and 6 inch collectors, because the 6 inch collector, back then Hasbro was struggling with their 6 inch figures, and they thought it was because they were putting all their emphasis on 3 3/4 inch. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know why both lines can't, good quality 3 3/4 inch and 6 inch lines can't exist simultaneously, but uh, you know, let's see. Austin, will you burn the worst figure in your collection on cam for a $10 super chat? Will I burn it? Probably not, just because I don't want the smell of burnt plastic in my house for hours on end. Otherwise, I would, but it's not the actual. I wouldn't have mind burning a crappy figure. It's just I don't want the smell of burnt plastic in my house. So yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think on 3 3/4 inch. If Hasbro gave us a good quality Marvel, like the old original Marvel Universe line, and say it costs around $17, would you buy it? Meaning it has good articulation, it has good construction, it has nice accessories. Um, is that something that you would buy? And I'm just throwing the $17 price. I'm just pulling that out of air. I have no idea what they would cost, but I'm just, you know, hopefully maybe they'd be, closer to $15 or even under 15. But I'm just going with the 17 because I want to know if people would buy that. I'd rather pay $17 for a good quality articulated 3.75 inch figure than pay $10 for a 5 points of articulated figure that looks like was made, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I don't really get this whole appeal with this 5 points of articulated stuff. Once in a blue moon, like the Star Wars, the original Kenner Star Wars is like a one-time, wave or one or two waves. I mean, they've been doing like a wave per movie or two waves per movie. And as long as they cut it off at Return of the Jedi, even though I've been hearing rumors about like a Mandalorian retro line, which I think would be ridiculous because Mandalorian didn't exist back then. But I don't get this people who want to buy figures that look like were made back in the 80s, you know. I mean, sure, they were great as a kid. Those were great figures as a kid, but figure, technology has improved, and the quality of figures have improved so greatly since then. So I don't know why people are wanting to go backwards. Like I said, once in a blue moon as a retro thing, as a collector thing, I get it. I get the appeal, but trying to do these mass produced and more companies. I mean, Todd's trying to do it now with My Hero Academia, and I get why the companies are doing it. I get why the toy companies are doing it, because they can make the figures cheap and get them at a price point that stores are much more willing to carry. A store like a Walmart and a Target is going to be much more willing to carry a $10 action figure than they are a $10 3 3/4 inch action figure than they are a $17 one, because they'll feel that kids will be more likely, or their parents, I should say, are going to be more likely to buy those. So I get that, but I don't think kids are really that much into action figures, or the window that they're into action figures is very small these days before they get distracted with other things like electronic devices. So I really feel like, as far as action figures go, I don't think there's ever going to be anything a company's going to do that's going to revolutionize, and bring back the golden years of kids buying toys. I don't see that. But from a collector standpoint, I definitely think, there's a market for 3 3/4 inch, but I don't understand why a collector is going, oh yeah, I'd love to get a 5 inch figure. Yeah, give me another. I mean, for example, I saw today we posted up on TNI. Super 7 has these Disney figures, reaction figures, which are 3 3/4 inch, 5 points of articulated figures. And they're Disney Store exclusives, and they're based on the Haunted Mansion, the Hitchhiking Ghosts. So this is what you get, and I didn't queue up these images, so I'm kind of having to show you. I'm getting glare, looks like. So if you want a better look, go to TNI. But that's it's a 3-pack. Those are 3 3/4 inch. Each figure has about 5 points of articulation. And would you care to guess how much this set is going for on the Disney Store? See if anyone can guess. Without don't cheat and look it up. Scruffy Nerd, I don't know if you cheated, but close. Yeah, basically $60. And a Scruffy Nerd got $59.99 is what it's selling for. Three and a quarter inch, 5 points of articulated figures are selling for $60. Market price, not secondary market. Market price. And I get it's Disney, but that's just crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, I don't like to say, because I've spent money on things I probably shouldn't have, that's crazy. So I don't like to say, oh, you'd be stupid to buy those. I mean, if you're just a diehard Disney fan, I maybe, but to me, that's so crazy that you would try and sell 5 points of articulated figures of that scale for $60. I mean, I assume Disney wanted them, which is why they're Disney Store exclusives, but I mean, I don't blame Super 7 for making them if people are going to buy them, but to me, that's just crazy. I just totally don't get it, and I don't get why there seems to be these people that want to go back to figures from the 80s. Let's see. I think some of you are still throwing out prices, which you're low. If that's what you guys do. Decorum says, bring back the original TNI music intro. I mean, I basically shortened it because, and I thought the new intro was more newsy, like. A guy stuck in the US. I want to see Hasbro do the real Ghostbusters and give us swappable Kenner and cartoon accurate heads. Hell, cartoon pack and Kenner pack. I hate the 5 point things. It was good in the past, but not for now. I assume you mean for the plasma line, the 6-inch line? Yeah, I mean, I can't believe Hasbro hasn't done the real Ghostbusters yet. I assume things have kind of been put on hold for Ghostbusters because of the movie getting delayed, but you would have thought they would maybe, since they can't do movie figures right now, maybe would have gotten out real Ghostbuster figures or something, but it doesn't look like it. I think probably they're waiting to see how the movie figures do, and then honestly, I think if the movie busts and the figures don't sell, my guess is Hasbro will drop that license like a ton of bricks. I left my water over here. Not a good place to keep liquids on top of the arcade machine. But yeah, oh yeah, Ghostbusters. So uh, that's my opinion. That's not based on anything, but just I don't see them putting much effort into it. And my feeling when they picked up that license was they only did it for the movie. And because the movie's been on hold, we really haven't gotten much. And frankly, that first wave of plasma figures seems to be sitting everywhere. So I don't really think those are selling that great. I mean, I don't know. I can't say that for sure, but every store I go into, I always see that first wave of Ghostbuster figures just sitting there. So it doesn't seem like a good sign that those are doing well, which is not surprising because so many companies have already done those versions of the Ghostbusters, right? I mean, we got Mattel, which did 6-inch figures, and we had Diamond Select that did 7-inch figures, and then we had Mezco do 112 collective figures. So many companies have already done the original Ghostbusters in their original outfits that, Hasbro coming along now and redoing them again. And, scale seemed a little bit off with like the Peter Venkman figure and things like that. So it's not too surprising to me that those figures have not, if those figures have not sold well. But, that they haven't done real Ghostbuster figures is at this point is really kind of surprising. I was kind of expecting that maybe they would at least hint to that at PulseCon. Xavier says he sees plenty of Ghostbusters everywhere he goes. Yeah, same way. Well, I mean, my shelf. I literally walked into my Walmart completely empty except for the peg with Ghostbuster figures. No exaggeration. Wardam says, with retro toys being so big in the last 10 years, I'm really shocked that a company hasn't gotten the Silverhawks license. Would love to see that line come back. Fact metal goodness. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Super 7 doesn't end up announcing that license. I don't know if you've caught recent interviews with Brian from Super 7, but he's been teasing for a while now that they've got some really exciting licenses to announce in the near future. And I really wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't something along the lines of Silverhawk. So that's just a pure guess on my part. I don't have any inside intel, but I totally would not be surprised if Super 7 ended up doing something like that. And again, they keep teasing. He keeps teasing that he's got these really exciting licenses. So I can't think of a lot that's still available that they would. I mean, I'm sure maybe what they feel is exciting might not be what I feel is exciting. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing Silverhawks. One says Super 7 is too expensive. Well, that's true. I mean, but unfortunately, I don't see a large company doing a mass retail line of something like Silverhawks unless, somebody picked up and did a movie or something. Pretty much any kind of major mass produced retail line is going to need something backing it, like a new cartoon or a movie or something along those lines. And so I don't see anybody, picking up and doing $20 Silverhawk figures. I don't see that happening at all. Maybe if not 7-inch Ultimate figures, I could definitely see 5-inch reaction figures. I'm surprised they haven't actually done reaction figures for Silverhawks, but actually another surprise. I don't think I'm surprised we haven't seen like Funko do pop versions of those and stuff. But give them time, and I'm sure they will. YFZ says, is that Ecto 1 the sold out on Target, a 3.75 inch scale? I'd buy a Ghostbusters 3.75 inch line. I don't know. They did not. They seem to have forgotten to tell us what scale that Ecto 1 was for, and all I've seen is what you guys saw at HasCon. So, and then the images that they put up on Target, which again did not list any kind of dimensions or scale or what have you. It definitely did not look like it was in scale for 6-inch figures. So maybe 5-inch figures, if there's a 5-inch line coming maybe for the movie or something. I could see, it is, the Ecto 1 is based on the movie, so the new movie. So there might be a new movie line in a smaller scale 5 or 4 and something like that is for. But they did not say anything. They didn't give us any hints. They put it under the plasma banner, which would make you think 6-inch, but you could just see them holding it up. There was no way that was going to hold 6-inch figures. So I don't know what scale it is technically made for, which is kind of ridiculous that they expect you to buy it without telling you that information. But there you go. It certainly it didn't slow down the scalper bots from cleaning out Target. I don't know if they put that back in stock since the initial pre-order date, but the scalper bots cleaned that one out pretty quickly too during that weekend. Scruffy Nerd says the Ecto 1 is 1/18 scale. I'll take your word for it. I haven't seen anyone give an official scale, but maybe you saw something I didn't. A guy stuck in the U.S. says he's still waiting for them to do real Ghostbusters. Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised they haven't even at least hinted that they're doing that. Bullwinkle 80 has the Playmobil Ecto 1 displayed with his Hasbro 6-inch figures. Yeah, I think I saw that on display at Toy Fair back in February. It looked pretty good. Gary Sabron asks if I think GoBots would do well. Well, I guess it depends on what your idea of well is. I don't think it would do well as a mass retail line. I mean, there was that company that was doing those kind of GoBot figures, or I think they're still doing them. Um, they're, from overseas, and I forget the name of the company, but we actually have been getting some GoBot like figures. If you go to Big Bad Toy Store, I think they sell them there. Captain Planet. No, I don't think a Captain Planet line would do well. Hey Oscar, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Redneck Trekker. Anyone find the Storm 2-pack yet? I have 3 targets and nothing yet. Frustrating. It's been available online. I mean, I didn't check today, but it's actually been fairly regularly available these over the past week or so. So if you can't find it at your physical store, check online because I think, and you get free. It's expensive enough that you get free shipping if you buy it online. So, like I said, if you can't find it at your physical store, I would just keep checking the website. MK Solid demands $100 store credit. Okay, well, keep demanding, but no store credits today, my friend. Bring Gray Fox says, bring back the James Bong Jr. toy line. I'm assuming that's a typo. I don't think there was a James Bong toy line, but James Bond Jr. Yeah, I remember those. Hey Pat, what's up? What's up, Udon? A guy stuck in the U.S. says Hasbro could have kept the Ghost Popper stuff. I assume that like is Nerf related, which is why they probably did that. And that's a Walmart exclusive too, so good luck on even finding it. MK Solid thinks Robin Hood Prince of Thieves line would be great if they bring it back. I mean, that type of figure line I think could do well. You see a lot of that kind of theme these days with TV shows and stuff. You guys asked that question about which toy line I'd want to see brought back. Well, last time I was asked that, we talked about the Battle of the Planets, which Storm Collectibles is actually bringing back. So, though I'm still waiting to find out whether they're going to do the whole team. I guess the lead character in that was Ken, not Mark. For some reason, I thought his name was Mark, but I was looking online and I think his name is actually Ken, the leader of the team, the Gacha Man. In Germany, Udon says the best line was Mask. What was I forget? This isn't an action figure line, but it was a line of spaceships, and they had like you could actually shoot. It had like kind of it was before laser tag was even a thing, but you could have them where they shot each other. I think Mattel put them out, and They look kind of like Battlestar Galactica ships a little bit. I can't remember what the line was, but that was a cool toy line back in the day as a kid. There were no action figures or anything. It was just ships. Redneck Trucker says Figma Indiana Jones. I don't know if you guys saw the news today, but they're going to be doing a new Willow TV series on Disney Plus. So I don't know if any Willow fans out there, but I could see maybe somebody picking up a toy line for that if assuming the show goes past one season. You know, unlike Dark Crystal that got canceled after the first season. Ray Fox is saying Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. I don't know if that's what they were originally called. I'll have to look it up. They maybe got reissued or something, but I don't remember them being called something like Captain Power. Starcom. Alright, well, I was going to look it up, but I don't even know where. I'd have to think about. Francis says they piss him off on the 3-inch Star Wars. I don't know if I missed a previous comment. What pisses you off about the Star Wars? Bullwinkle, what do I think about the new Halo 3.75-inch figures from Jazzwares? I mean, I haven't seen them in person yet, but what I saw at Toy Fair, I thought they looked pretty good. And that's a good example of a company doing fairly decent articulated figures in both 6-inch and 3 3/4 inch. However, I have seen a few reviews of the 6-inch stuff that has indicated that maybe the quality on the Halo 6-inch figures isn't super spectacular. I don't know. I haven't even seen those figures yet, but I've seen a couple reviews where people were having indications of like loose joints or things like that. So Target wouldn't sell me Hondo's Droid today. It was on shelves. Is there a embargo date on that? The website I think has it listed for October 25th, but I've seen people actually buying it, which is not unusual with Target. Some stores will sell stuff, and other stores tell you they can't sell it. Oh well, you know what? I have one more thing to talk to you guys about. That speaking of Target and everything, so we talked about this last night, but I thought I'd bring it up again. So this one still has not shown up online. The Turtle 2-pack with the Triceraton and Roadkill Rodney. According to NECA, it was supposed to go up the other day, and of course it didn't. Or was it yesterday? I lose track, but it didn't. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was supposed to be available online, and it didn't go up, and it didn't go up today. And last time I checked a little while ago, it's still not even listed on the website, so it's making me think that it might actually be a while before it actually becomes available. But definitely, I feel like it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I get that NECA doesn't have much control over Target and when they actually put things up, but you would think, that if somebody at Target gave them the date of yesterday for when it was supposed to be available, you would think they would at least somewhat try to be fairly close to that date, not just leave people hanging. So I don't know what it is, but I just feel like it's bad enough that we have to deal with the scalper bots, And I can even see maybe not giving it a specific time of day, because I think that does help the scalper bots. Like if they say something's going to be available at such and such time on such and such day, and it actually goes up on that time and day, the scalper bots, just like we're sitting around waiting for it, so are the scalper bots. So I can understand kind of leaving a little, mystery of when it's going to go up. But, I guarantee there were probably people sitting online all day yesterday waiting for that set to become available, and then just, basically staring at their computer screen throughout the day, seeing nothing. And then today, again, nothing. So, and really, it's just down to, if you just happen to be lucky and you happen to be sitting online and you see somebody post, if you see NECA, they'll usually announce on their Twitter when it becomes available. So if you happen to see that, happen to be sitting at your computer when you see that, then you might have a shot at getting it. But otherwise, you're SOL. I mean, if you come in an hour after it goes up available, you're not going to get it. Or I seriously doubt it. At least everything up until this point, hasn't the longest something's lasted, I think, is like 20 minutes. So, you really don't have much of a window. And I talked about the interview Randy did with the folks at Fush yesterday. And, when somebody asks him about the distribution, Randy always, well, look how things have improved. And I give him credit that things have improved and that they have tried to take some steps to, with the made to pre-order for certain items and things like that. But to me, I'm still perplexed of why this is so difficult to get it so people have a decent, more people have a decent shot. It's like, if for whatever reason Target didn't think these were going to sell, surely they've got enough data at this point. We're into wave, we're almost through wave 4, that surely they've got enough data to show that there's demand for these figures. So at what point, who is saying, well, you know what? I only want to order 2 of these sets per store. I don't get that. I don't get why that is such a hard sell to say, hey, you guys should maybe start ordering, 10 sets per store, so that, people have a decent shot of buying them, or getting them. I just, like I said, I don't understand why this is so difficult. And I don't know who's making it difficult, whether it's the license holder, whether it's Nickelodeon, whether there's something in the license to say they can only sell a certain number. I've seen people hint to that, but I've never seen anyone officially say that there's something that states that. Whether it's Target themselves that want to limit the number that they carry because they don't think they're going to sell, or they think it is going to sell and they want something to bring you into the store, or whether it's NECA themselves, for same reason that they want, they hope that you go. I mean, Randy talked about cross-selling, wanting their products in the store at Target and Walmart for cross-selling purposes, which essentially means you go in for the Turtles and then you don't find the Turtles, but maybe you see a Gremlins or a Predator figure and you grab that one. Sharif King Jr., $2 super chat. Thanks, man. He says, I need the Roadkill 2-pack, but not for 150. Yeah, I'm same way, man. Same way. And I will not buy it off secondary market prices. If I can't get it at regular retail, I just won't get it. Now, with the Roadkill, I'm not really personally, I've said this before, I'm not really that much into the Triceraton. I could live without the Triceraton. So if for whatever reason I don't get this one, I strongly would suspect that they'll release the Roadkill Rodney in the video game line. So it'll have some digitized paint apps on it, but I could live with that. So I do want the Roadkill Rodney 2-pack, or the 2 droids, but if I can't get this one, then I assume I'll have another chance at it down the road through the video game line. And that's another, why is it that we can get any of the video game figures without too much of a difficulty, but we can't get these mass retail figures? Why are they selling, the video game stuff I get has been mostly repaints, but, why isn't that stuff in such demand? And yet, or maybe better question is, why are they able to produce that in great enough numbers so that they aren't selling out super quickly, and yet we can't seem to get it right with the mass retail stuff? I don't know. It's frustrating. I mean, like I said, I give Randy credit and NECA credit because they have improved things, but I feel like they haven't improved them enough, and I'm really just like, why haven't they improved? Why is this still an issue at this point? When the line first started, I can understand, but it seems like we've been far enough along into this that I don't really get why we're still having such difficulty with it. Alexander says he really wants April, Splinter, and Baxter. Yeah, though. Well, I have April. I was lucky and got April, but yeah, I want that. That's the Splinter and Baxter 2-pack's the main one I want from Wave 4. Like I said, I wouldn't mind getting this Roadkill Rodney set for the Roadkill Rodney bots, but if I miss out on it for whatever reason, it won't be the end of the world. But if I wasn't able to get Splinter and Baxter, mostly Splinter, but Baxter too, then that's like a hole in the collection that really would make me wonder if I should keep collecting the line or not. The others in this wave, like I said, if I can't get, I'll try and get them if I can find them at cost at some point. But if I can't, then I feel like I can still keep collecting the line and not have big enough holes in the collection that. But you can't have turtles without Splinter, right? I mean, you got to have Splinter. So it's the same thing with like Shredder. The other one that's going to be a must-have for me is the Krang and Android body. I was so disappointed when Playmates canceled that one. They were going to do one, and for their collector line, and then they canceled it. So I'm really that's top on my list that I must get is the Krang with Android body. I'm really hoping that maybe they do a made to pre-order thing for that one. I haven't said that they are, but I'm really kind of hoping that they do. So that's that, and Splinter and Baxter are must-haves. As we start getting into the lesser characters, again, if I can find them at cost, I will try and get them, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if I didn't get them. Michael says he can't wait for Rat King next year. Yeah, that Rat King actually came out looking pretty good. When I saw the initial images in July, those images didn't make the figure look that great, but the new images they released this week, that's a set I definitely going to want to try and get as well. Rat King was a cool villain. I always remember him, the cartoon. Al Alcap says they need to clearance all that Godzilla stuff. Yeah, that Godzilla stuff. I mean, a lot of people seemed upset when NECA lost that license, but those Godzilla figures, at least around here, don't seem to move very well. Wardam says, has Randy said anything about putting up April and Casey 2-pack for pre-order on the NECA store? No, he has not. I don't expect anything more to go up on the store this year. And then, like, if you watch that interview he did this week with Flush, he basically, he said things like, they'll do it when they can, but they have to work with their retail partners, and they can't put everything up for pre-order. So I don't know. Obviously, what they want is they want you to keep going to Target and looking for it. But eventually, once Target is done with it, they might end up putting it up for pre-order. I suspect. But right now, they don't want to give away future plans because, again, they want you to go into Target or Walmart if you're collecting the movie stuff. But they want you to go in those stores because the idea is once you're in the store, even if you don't find the turtle stuff, you'll find something else and you'll buy it. Whether for Target's perspective it's anything, but from NECA's perspective it's, they're hoping, you'll go in and you'll find the new Back to the Future figures and you'll buy those instead of the turtle stuff or what have you. So but no, nothing specific. They have not shown anything specific or said anything specific about putting anything more up for pre-order. And the last thing they mentioned was that probably wouldn't see anything go up for pre-order until next year. Yeah, Bean has it right. Austin says no one wants tiny Godzilla figures. Well, for I don't know. I mean, I would agree with you, but there's an awful lot of Godzilla product out there on the shelves. Somebody must be buying that stuff. It would be cool if somebody made like a really big, detailed Godzilla figure. Like, to me, the best Godzilla figure I ever had was, I think it was Mattel. It was like part of the Shogun Warrior line where, you pushed the little thing on the back and his tongue stuck out, which was supposed to be his fire breath, and he would shoot one of his hands off. I had that as a kid, and I saw it at a toy store, like, one of these that sells old toys, but they were like asking for a ton of money. So, but I was tempted, just for nostalgia reasons, I was tempted to get that one. Jason asks, how do I think NECA's going to re-release the Ninja Turtle Target exclusives? You mean how are they going to re-release the four turtles from the Target line? Based on that interview he did, it sounded like it was going to be some kind of box set, but I don't know for sure. I really want to see vehicles and playsets. I don't have a lot of room for vehicles and playsets, but I would love if they gave us a really good sewer layer playset. I would probably have to get that. Especially like if they made it compatible with like that city diorama, so you could have the city diorama on the top and then have the sewer playset underneath. That would be really cool. MK Solid asks, do I ever get collecting fatigue? Um, I get wallet fatigue if that counts. But yeah, I think so. Sometimes you kind of sit there and you wonder. You look around and you're like, man, I've spent a lot of money on this stuff, and then it's like you start thinking, was it really worth? I could have paid off like a ton of debt, or paid down my mortgage, or something like that. You start thinking things like that, and I have those thoughts sometimes, but I think just having the stuff around me, it brings me happiness, it brings me pleasure. So in the long run, I think it's worth it. You got to have something frivolous that I think that you enjoy to spend your money on sometimes. I mean, you don't want to go crazy. I mean, if you're buying toys instead of paying your bills, you've got a problem. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I see people joking, but I suspect there are probably people that do that. Like, instead of paying their utility bill, they're out buying action figures, and that is a bit much. But I definitely feel like, you got to spend some money on yourself, and some people spend it on cars. I don't get the people who buy like spend tons and tons of money on cars and stuff. I mean, obviously you got to have a car, and a nice car is good, but you don't need like five cars or rimmed up cars or things like that. I don't know. So, but to answer your initial question, yes, there are times where I've had collector fatigue. Gray Fox, is your significant other okay with all the collecting? Yeah, She's cool. I mean, I met my wife at a well, I worked at a credit union and I met her there. But what really kind of caught my eye with her was she was talking to another coworker about Sesame Street, and she's a huge Sesame Street fan. So that was really what got my attention, and we kind of had a kindred spirit with that kind of stuff. So, um, but yeah, she's. I mean, I don't have like action figures strung throughout the entire house. I have my main office upstairs. I have down here in the basement, and I have a few things in our bedroom, but it's not like our entire house is covered in toys or something. So, um, there's boundaries, but my wife's definitely cool with me collecting. Captain DS, we're in October. Shouldn't they be announcing the Battletoads figures, Megalopolis? I have no idea, my friend. I'm sure you're aware that they've been having some difficulties. So I'm sure if they're smart, at least they're putting everything on hold until they can get things straightened out. And so, frankly, I think they should probably, before they announce any more action figure lines, and this is just my opinion, but I think they should make sure that they get the first two, the Mad Balls and the Barnyard Commandos, out to market, and then go from there. Um, and also, get everything straightened up so that their retail business is at least, there's not like tons of people every day screaming that they're not getting their orders and stuff. So I think if they're smart, they'll take care of those things, and then move forward with these other action figure lines that they've been talking about. So, but I don't know. I have no idea what their plans are. All I've seen is what they post on their Facebook page, the other week, and I really haven't heard anything more on it since then. Austin says apparently Megalopolis is a scam. I don't know if they're a scam. And again, I preference this by saying they have been a sponsor on my websites in the past. Not currently, but they have. And this is again just my opinion, but I don't think they're, and I definitely hope that they're not deliberately trying to scam people. But I think it's more that they just got in over their heads, which can happen. You focus on growth, and you don't get a strong foundation underneath you for your business, and you can find things fall apart real quick. And I kind of feel like, again, just personal opinion based on my observations, is what's happened to them. So I hope, I'm not going to sit here and say 100% they're not scamming you, because I don't know that for sure, but my hope is that they bit off more than they can chew, and they are now taking steps to try and fix it, which I hope they do. But assuming they fix all their problems with like getting everything shipped out, they still got a huge, their reputation. This is not a large hobby. Word gets around pretty quickly. So, they're gonna have, again, assuming they're actually able to fix their problems and stuff, they're gonna have, just a hard time getting their people to trust them again. So, they definitely have their work cut out for them, in my opinion. Brian Merchant says, didn't they just do a video with Pixel Dan and said they are redesigning their website? They did do some type of interview video with Pixel Dan. I didn't watch the whole thing, so. But they put I would go by the statement that they put on their Facebook page the other week. That's probably more recent. And then again, we'll have to actually see if they're actually able to follow it through. But JR says, I live in Utah. I've been waiting for an order for 2 months now. They already took my money, now giving me the runaround. They won't even answer their phone. Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people have said. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what's going on there. I just hope they can get it fixed. I hope they get you your either what you ordered or get your money back. But you know, we'll have to see what happens with them. But I'm not. I know I've seen some people like talking about them on Facebook and stuff, and they're, oh yeah, they're crooks and they're scammers and stuff. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're not, because I don't know. But probably you should. I mean, obviously there's a problem there. There's no doubt about it. They've even admitted that there's a problem there. So obviously that's not up for debate. But whether they are truly trying to rip people off or they've just gotten in over their heads and trying to, they're drowning basically. I don't know. John Wood says their shipping is crazy expensive. Jerry Sabron, COVID hit them probably. Well, that's what one of the reasons they give is COVID, but obviously that only flies so much. I mean, everybody's been hit by COVID, but I don't think anybody's had quite the problems that they've had. So now, one thing that is a little different about them over, say, other e-tailers is they have a physical store. Most e-tailers are just that, they're online. So I don't know, and I know their physical store I think has been closed down since COVID. So I don't know how that affect, that probably gives them more overhead, just the I don't know if they own the property their store's on or they rent it or what, but that could maybe cause issues that other e-tailers haven't had to deal with because they've had to have their physical store closed down. But again, those are things I just don't really. Ben from the bunker says he's had more delays from Big Bad Toy Store than Megalopolis. Well, I can tell you that you're in the minority of that if that's true. I mean, everybody's had some delays. I mean, delays are COVID has caused delays, but I've not heard anyone saying that Big Bad Toy Store has taken money and not shipped their products and not returning their messages and things like that. I think there are delays and there's COVID problems, but this is more than that. I think it's pretty safe to say with Megalopolis. And again, whether it's something they can get fixed and get back on track with, I don't know. But I mean, I don't want any business to go out of, I don't want to see people lose their jobs. I don't want to see, people who, I wouldn't want my business to go under, I wouldn't want people hoping I mean, I understand totally people's frustrations. If you're somebody who ordered something and you haven't gotten it for months and they've taken your money for it, I'd be pissed too. So I'm not saying that people don't have a right to be pissed. They do. But I also, at the same time, first of all, if you ever want any chance of getting your money back or your product, you probably don't want them going out of business because, that's a sure way of not getting what you want. So, again, I think it's in everyone's best interest if they're able to fix their problems and get things back on track. But whether they're able to do that or not, I just honestly, I don't know. Austin says it's probably not a Big Bad Toy Store delay, but a Hasbro NECA Super 7, etc. delay. That's possible. I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon's been delaying. I don't know about you guys, but Amazon's been delaying a lot of the Hasbro stuff. And who knows where it could be anywhere along the food chain of where the delay happens. So from the factory, to the to the warehouses, to from the manufacturer to the factory. I mean, guy stuck in the U.S. says Hasbro cut off all contact a good 3 weeks when they didn't ship people Lord Drac. I hadn't heard that, but I mean, technically, and I won't say this 100%, but obviously it's Hasbro's name on it, so obviously, but I don't think it's Hasbro directly. I think Hasbro uses a third party for that stuff, so it's probably that third party that they're using that cut off contact. But yeah, I mean, obviously Hasbro should be overseeing that and making sure that if they're going to sell directly, I've said this many times, I'm not a huge fan of Hasbro Pulse, and I'm not a fan of them selling essentially the same products as a Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth or what have you. They're essentially competing with their own customers. I mean, if you have to buy your stock from somebody who's turning around and selling that same stock, you probably wouldn't be too happy about it, right? So that's really, I really was not a fan of them going that route. I can understand from their perspective, they're cutting out a middleman. So if they can sell the product directly, then I guess maybe short term. But I just never thought it was a good idea. It never seems to work well either. I mean, look at Matty Collector. Look how many problems that caused for Mattel with Matty Collector. Their reputation was, through the dirt because of all the problems that happened with Matty Collector. So I never feel like it's a good enough thing. I feel like the toy manufacturers should concentrate on making the toys and then let the the retailers, sell the toys. Work with the small guys to sell more directly to the consumer. Don't try and do it yourself. But that's just me, so. Bean says the Megalopolis had that Kickstarter-like investment drive at the end of last year. It seemed like they hit their investment goals, and yet here we are. Yeah, that thing. I know what you're talking about. That thing seemed a little. I don't know why anyone would have. I mean, it wasn't really. I mean, they call it an investor thing, but when you invest in a company like a stocks, you get dividends and things like that. And I don't think you got dividends through that thing that Megalopolis was offering. I didn't read every little detail, but it seemed like the only way that you were going to be able to make any of your money back from that is if they went public, which is never going to happen. I mean, do you know of any toy store that's ever gone public, let alone an e-tailer? So that was never going to happen. Or if somebody came along and bought them out for lots and lots of money, then you might have made your money back. But again, that didn't seem very likely either. So, Road Pig John, what's the update on the A-Team? Well, I'm not aware of anything going on with the A-Team. It would be nice if there was, but I don't think anyone's doing A-Team, unfortunately. I think it would be awesome if we got some cool A-Team figures and maybe the van, but unfortunately, I don't know of anyone doing that. I'm really, I'm bummed that we didn't get a sequel to the A-Team movie. I really liked that movie with Liam Neeson. I thought it was good. I don't know. I think it was the actors were too expensive, Bradley Cooper, Liam Neeson. I think that's probably why we didn't get a sequel. But I thought it would have been made a cool. I love the A-Team. I watched all the seasons here recently. I'm watching Knight Rider now. There's like nothing on TV, so I've been watching a lot of '80s shows. So right now I've been watching old reruns of Knight Rider. But before that I watched A-Team. I watched some I watched some new shows too. Like I started watching the Hellstorm series on Hulu. Based on the Marvel character. I've only seen I only watched the first episode so far, but it actually seemed like it was pretty good. Um, I have I had a few Hellstorm comics back in the '90s, but honestly, I don't remember anything about them. Uh, So it's kind of like you know, so I'm not sure how true to the comics it is, but it was actually pretty good. So I'll probably finish watching that. Bean says the plot for the A-Team movie was too convoluted for its own good. Part of why it bombed in theaters. Had a great cast though. I wanted a sequel. I don't know. I thought the plot was pretty good. I mean, they had to establish the A-Team and they had to bring it modern. They couldn't do the Vietnam War, so now they had to do the Gulf War. But I thought they did a pretty good job. I don't. It would have been hard to translate the TV series aspect of them being hired by somebody to help them into a movie. So it would have been kind of hard to do a sequel that wasn't essentially just a repeat of what they did in the first movie. But Austin asked, "Did I pass on the Hellfire Army Builder?" No, I missed it on the first because I was in the middle of covering PulseCon, so I didn't have time to go to the website when it first went up during that weekend. And so when I went to it like on Sunday, it was sold out. It was like, what the hell? You've literally sold out of an army builder. You didn't like stock enough of an army builder. So I missed out on it initially, but when they put it back up here, I think it was last week, I ordered two. Now I haven't got. I think they're pre-ordered, so I think I'm gonna have to wait a while before they arrive. But I did go on and get two of them. And of course, the Hellfire Club, like some of my stuff that I got, like the I got for the Pulse exclusives. I got the Hellfire Club box set, the Cobra Commander, and the Quintesson Transformer set. So the Transformer set it was supposed to ship this month, but the other two items, I guess, were pre-order. I went to the pre-order queue, and so those weren't going to ship until next year. But I'm thinking, because I haven't gotten any shipping notice on the Transformer one, I'm thinking that they've just put them all. So I'm probably not going to get my Transformer one until next year either, because they're probably just going to wait and ship them all together, which is not that big a deal to me. But I just, uh, but anyway, so I don't really need the Hellfire Club Goon until I get the Hellfire Club box set. So which isn't going to be until like March, so it's not a big deal to me that I'm going to have to wait. But I did get two of those figures when they put it back up. Bean's talking about I don't remember what it made at the box office. Yeah, I'm sure that like I said, I think it made its money back and then some a little bit, if I remember correctly, but I'm sure not enough to justify doing the sequel. And probably the actors would have Bradley Cooper, when he did that movie, was a name, but he was kind of an up and coming name, where he's an even bigger star now than he was when he made that movie. So I'm sure he would command a larger salary than he did even for that movie. So I was really surprised when I heard that Mr. T wasn't willing to do a cameo in that movie because he thought it was too violent. They got, they had Dirk Benedict and Murdoch, and obviously George Part's no longer alive, so they couldn't get Hannibal. But Mr. T, from what I read, refused to do the cameo because he thought it was too. The movie itself was too violent or something. A road pick, yeah. I switched. I started in the last stream. I switched to wired headphones, which definitely sounds better. I don't know, something about, I guess when the sound goes through the Bluetooth, it makes it sound like it's in an echo chamber or something. I even tried a better pair of earphones, like a better quality, but I was still with the Bluetooth. I was getting that muffled sound, and I added some filters. It's supposed to make the mic sound better too, but yeah, I'm really bummed about. I had I had a new setup for the review studio booth, and it worked fine earlier today. But then when I was getting ready to go live, for some reason it quit working. So I don't know if you notice things like my little spinny globe I've added, just kind of sprucing up the channel a little bit, and been experimenting. Yeah, I've been, you know, a lot of features with the streaming stuff you can do today. So I've just been kind of having fun experimenting and stuff, but like with little graphics and stuff. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But I mean, we probably we're going way longer than I anticipated. That's the only downside doing these live streams. I get talking with you guys, and then it ends up becoming like, I really want to try and keep these only to about an hour, but then we start talking and chatting and stuff, and then it's like they start dragging on for a couple hours. I don't even know how many people we have on here. It's like we have 140 people watching right now. 137, Bullwinkle says. Alex says, thanks for bringing all the news. No problem, man. Austin asks if I'm interested in the Storm Collectibles Dark Stalkers line. I think it's a nice looking line. I was never that much into the video game, so, and because Storm Collectible stuff is on the pricey side, I don't know if I will get it. Sorry, it looked like we froze up there. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. But the figure, the Dimitri figure definitely looks good. So we'll see. I'm really eyeing the Gatchaman line that they're doing. I really hope they end up doing that whole team, and if they do, then I definitely will be picking those up. Harry G says he loves the new format. Thanks, man. I almost like I'm still one of the reasons. Like obviously, you probably notice I've been doing videos more regularly as I'm trying to get down, learn more of this format and everything. I almost didn't do a video because there was so little news to talk about today. But then I was like, yeah, what the hell? And then of course, then I had the glitch with the review studio. So I don't know if I'm gonna literally do videos every day like this, but right now I'm just trying to kind of learn things and get more used to it and things like that. So that's why you're seeing so many videos here recently. But Tom's in the house. Is that a life-size BB-8 behind you? Kinda. It's a playset. It's Hasbro did it. It opens up and it's the First Order Star Killer base. So for 3 3/4 inch figures, it's actually a pretty cool playset that they did for the Force Awakens. But so it's kind of life size, but it actually has some lights and sounds. You can push the button and it does beeps and stuff. John asked, do I think Mezco will make a second wave of Batman 66 figures after they release their Batcave? You mean for the 5 point line? You mean like single release card? I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't. I haven't heard anything, but I probably a lot depends on how well that Batcave sells, but I would not be surprised. Now that's like the figures themselves with the 5 points. I don't find super exciting, but I thought that was really cool how they did the Batcave, and of course you get the Batmobile. So at least that's creative enough that I might, you could tempt me with a 5 points of articulated figure with that kind of setup. Roadpick says he's looking forward to the Super 7 Bat Battle Android Trooper Master Mold that is coming. Are you going to get that one in front or in the back of your bats? You're talking about the what are they, 12-inch or something? Not 12-inch, but the X-ray like one where you can see like the insides of it and stuff. I forget the name of the line, but I don't. Probably not, just because I think it's probably a little too big. I don't know, maybe. I didn't really think about like is like a master bat. I mean, we never saw. It's not like a sentinel where you had like a big giant sentinel. All the bats were always the same size, at least in the original G.I. Joe cartoon. Brian Merchant says, "What property would you like to see the Legends treatment for? For him, it's Lord of the Rings." I don't know. Did you ever? I mean, it's kind of funny you say that because obviously back in the day, Toy Biz, besides Marvel Legends, another big line that Toy Biz did was Lord of the Rings. Is the Leo wave shipping yet? Is that wave what, one or two? I forget, but I have not heard. Or that's wave two, isn't it? But I've not heard it shipping. Well, I think the next wave, I think Brian, if I remember correctly, said was going to be hugely delayed. Or was that Thundercat? No, that was Thundercats. Yeah, that was Thundercats. I'm getting my lines mixed up. He was saying it was Thundercats. He was saying the next wave was going to be wave two was going to be delayed, and then after that they had switched factories and things should speed up after that. But with the turtles, I have not heard them shipping yet, but I think they should. They're supposed to ship sometime this month, if I remember correctly. And that's just going off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that. 829 Racer says New York Comic Con snuck up on him. He had no idea it even happened. Well, technically, it really didn't happen, so that might be why it snuck up on you. But yeah, the virtual thing they did has already come and gone. Ryan asks if I'm into the new Mego figures because they need more lures. I am not. I've never been a fan of Mego figures. It's probably why I'm not a huge fan of like 112 collective figure. I've just never been a fan of the cloth outfits and stuff. So, though I saw that Stan Lee one they did, that one was kind of cool. But I'm not. I've Mego. The original Mego line was before my time, and so and they've never really appealed to me again because of the cloth outfits. So I've had no desire to collect the new Mego figures. Captain D asks if I've watched any recent cartoons like DuckTales or Primal for Adult Swim. I have not. Um, I could probably get into DuckTales because I used to watch the original one, but I just haven't really done it. I watched the new Transformer cartoon. That's probably the only recent new cartoon that I've watched, which I thought was really good. Martinez asks, which WandaVision figures do you think we get? I don't know. Maybe Wanda and Vision? I mean, those are the only real characters that we've seen so far. So, other than that lady, that I don't know who that's supposed to be, but Ben says he watches DuckTales with his daughter. It's funny. Yeah, like I said, I could probably sit and watch DuckTales. I just haven't, but I used to watch the old show all the time, and I thought it was great. And I'm not a huge Disney fan. Like I've Disney cartoons were never huge on my. I always was more into like Bugs Bunny and stuff than Disney. So, but I used to watch Ducktales and um, had this spin-off show with Launchpad. What didn't they do? Or and Gizmo Duck. I want. I can't remember what the Darkwing Duck. Yeah, there we go. What is the Ducktail? Is that on Disney Plus? Now that Super Seven's done Turtles, what do you think of the first Turtle variants will be? I don't know, but Brian definitely said there would be Turtle variants coming, so probably like Raph in disguise, trench coat disguise. I think is going to be one that's coming. You guys talking about Ducktales? Remind me what station does Ducktales air on? The new Ducktales air on? Is it Disney Plus? I'll try and check it out, but I forget what station it's on. Alexander asks, "Is there a roadmap to NECA's Cartoon Turtles?" I'm not sure what you mean by roadmap. If you mean like a visual guide that is coming at the end of the year. Chris Seavey asks, "What do I think the next reveal from Marvel Legends will be?" Uh, I don't know. I mean, I think they're gonna need to show us the rest of that Spider-Man wave because that's gonna probably be out before the end of the year. I'm sure there's some more fan channel exclusives. We'll have another fan channel reveal on the first Monday of next month. So I don't know if they'll reveal anything before that, but I would say the rest of the Spider-Man figures would probably be coming in the near future. And frankly, probably the rest of that X-Men wave too. My guess is we'll see that before the end of the year as well. Disney XD. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have Disney XD because like I dropped regular cable a long time ago, so like I have Hulu, which is where I get most of my channels. I'll have to see if they have. I don't remember if they have. I think they do, but I don't remember for sure. Wordam PGM asks, "What's the crown jewel in my collection?" I don't know. I mean, I don't have any glaring crown jewel that's like worth thousands of dollars or anything like that. Obviously, I'm a huge Captain America fan, so those are tend to be my favorite types of collectibles. I've never been good about keeping stuff mint on card and stuff, so but like this Toy Biz Captain America figure is a favorite of mine just because of nostalgia. I think one that has kind of a cool sentimental value to me from a business standpoint is the very first toy fair that I went to. Um, Hasbro, and this was like 20 years ago, or around 20. I forget exactly what year it was, but and they used to do. They had their own building. I know since most of you have never been to Toy Fair, it's hard to envision this, but like nowadays, most of Toy Fair takes place in a big convention hall, the Javits Center. But back then, Toy Fair was actually spread out a lot throughout the city, and there were actually buildings where a lot of toy companies had offices, and then companies like Hasbro had their own building um, that they owned, which they later, like shortly after, like I think the second year I went, second or third year, they sold the building. But back then they really like did it up really good, and they gave out these cool Darth Vader exclusives. It was like a silver uh, figure, and Vader's holding up his lightsaber, and the lightsaber actually sticks up through the packaging. You may have seen some on eBay or something if you're into Star Wars and stuff. So I don't know what it goes for. Like, I haven't looked up the value of it, but just because it was like one of the very first figures that I got doing this job, and back then, like I said, Hasbro, nowadays most of the toy companies, they rush everybody through, they cram everybody, Hasbro rushes all the press in at the same time, they cram everybody into little cramped corners so we can all snap our pictures and everything. But back then they really seemed to kind of like, I don't know, respect the press. So it just, it made you feel a little more important than they do nowadays. So uh, that figure kind of has a sentimental value, just because, like I said, it was one of the first things I got when I first started covering this business, or covering the stuff for the websites and stuff. So, but like I said, I don't have I don't have like a rare gem $1,000 figure or stuff. I don't. I wish I had kept all my original Star Wars figures from when I was a kid. I wish I had all my, G.I. Joe and Transformers from when I was a kid, but I didn't. So, and and I open all my figures and I do around with them and stuff generally. So I don't have a lot of stuff kept pristine in packaging and stuff. So, but Captain America stuff in general, just because I'm a huge Cap fan, and then probably that Star Wars figure, that Darth Vader figure, because just because it was just a cool thing to get back then. And it's pretty unique. I mean, they've never done it again like that. So it is like I said, I haven't looked to see if it. I mean, I'm sure it's more than what I paid for since I got it for free, but I don't think I could retire with it either. But at the same time, it probably might get a couple $100. Do I think Age of Apocalypse figures are done for Marvel Legend? I don't know. I mean, I certainly think it's possible they could do more, especially like as a fan channel exclusive, but I'm not sure how well that wave did for them. I see that wave sitting around a lot at Targets and stuff, so um, it's hard to say. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put out one or two here or there as like a fan channel exclusive. I really find it hard to believe they're not going to eventually give us a Sabretooth figure, since they gave us the Wild Child figure. Um, so I could see them definitely doing like Sabretooth at some point. Who do I think is the most overrated Marvel character? As classic action figures. Overrated. I guess I don't know what you mean by overrated. Like it's overused maybe. Um, I don't know. I know that a lot of people probably won't like me for saying this, but putting it in the context of maybe overexposed, I would say maybe like a Spider-Man. And I like Spider-Man. I'm not saying I don't like Spider-Man. I'm just saying that I feel like he's way overexposed. You know, Wolverine's probably another one that you could put in that category. Yeah, Iron Man in recent years, because he's become such the face of the MCU. But the overuse of Wolverine and Spider-Man far predate Iron Man. So, back in those early days, Iron Man was barely considered a second-rate character, but Wolverine and Spider-Man, they'd appear in literally like every goddamn issue of Marvel Comics. It's like, how are you in this story, and then how are you in this story, and it's like, I mean, they were just way overused. Deadpool's another recent one that's become like that, but then even when Deadpool first started, first appeared in X Force and stuff, he wasn't. It wasn't until years later that he really became the hot property that he is today, and obviously the movies helped that as well. But but really, when he first appeared in the '90s, I don't remember Deadpool being all that hugely popular. I thought he was cool. I just mainly just because I liked his outfit and I like red and black, and it was a cool outfit. But I don't remember him being like right off the bat him being like a super popular character. It wasn't until years later, and he really when I don't remember him being like the smart ass break the fourth wall type character either when he first appeared. He was kind of a more serious. I thought he was kind of a more serious character when he first appeared in X Force and stuff. Yeah, what team is Wolverine not in? And I mean, I like Wolverine and I like Spider Man. I just, they just get way overused. And I thought it was, I mean, back when they first did New Avengers and they brought Wolverine and Spider Man onto the Avenger team, I thought that was awesome because, believe it or not, as much as Spider Man and I mean, obviously both of them, especially like Spider Man, had made guest appearances and stuff, but they had neither one of them had never joined the Avengers or been part of the Avengers team up until that point when they did New Avengers, and so I thought that was a cool thing. But then they kind of it fell apart, and I don't like the other thing I don't like is when they take bad. I don't like this trend where they take the bad guys and make them good guys. Like when they did it back in the day with Magneto, it kind of made sense. Magneto's not really a bad guy. He was fighting for his people and doing it in a way that he thought was right. But I don't consider Magneto, never really have, to be a bad guy. But like taking and I haven't followed these storylines that closely, but like if I'm not mistaken, they made Apocalypse a good guy or somewhat semi good guy or something. I mean, I'm like, really, Apocalypse a good guy? That just. And again, I haven't read that story, so maybe they didn't really make him a good guy, but it seemed like they were turning him into a good guy. I don't think they've ever tried to make Red Skull a good guy. That would be a definite hard sell. Junketsu, yeah. Well, I mean, and I wasn't specifically talking about Marvel Legends, but yeah, I mean, Iron Man as far as I mean, just not even Marvel Legends. Iron Man, just period. Any company that makes a Marvel figure, almost like always the first figure they do now is Iron Man. So if it's not Spider Man, it's Iron Man. So I agree. In the action figure world, Iron Man is definitely probably the most overexposed character, even topping Spider Man these days. Though Spider Man maybe is a I don't know. It's a close tie between Spider Man and Iron Man, but definitely in action figures, those two seem to be the most popular. Yeah, figure arts, Hot Toys. I mean, Hot Toys cranks out a new Iron Man figure every time you turn around. It's crazy. Captain D says Professor X made him like he is a villain now, or at least that his motives are not that pure. Yeah, like I said, I haven't read any of those stories, but if there's even a remote hint that Apocalypse was like a good guy, that just seems so off character for what the original Apocalypse was created to be. I mean, all characters I get have to evolve and change over time, but well, we've gone way longer than I had anticipated, though we did get a late start today. So again, I do apologize for that. Hopefully, I can figure out what's going on with the second camera for the review booth. Like I said, NECA is going to be making some reveals tomorrow. We should get a new Back to the Future reveal, a new Predator reveal. So McFarlane, we'll see if they do any more reveals. They kind of noted that McFarlane Con is still going on, so who knows. Um, but if we get some decent reveals tomorrow, then I'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. And again, hopefully I'll get the glitches that I experienced today worked out. But I think appreciate everybody who joined today, and keep on watching, keep on chatting. I love the talking with you guys and everything. So until next time, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, stay safe out there, and I'll catch you guys later.